and will begin shortly. Please be reminded that in order to obtain CPD points, you will have to scan the QR code and fill in the attendance form.
That's when you said, oh, she's my sister. We have another search now. You know she's based in the UK. She was up until about a year ago. She still wants to eat.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next panel discussion focuses on a topic of great significance in today's global economy, Chinese corporations going overseas. As Chinese corporation continues to expand internationally, this panel will explore the role of Hong Kong lawyers in assisting these companies with their global ventures. We'll dive into the legal framework, regulatory challenges, and success stories that have shaped the international expansion of Chinese corporation. We're privileged to have an exceptional group of panelists joining us today. May I invite Ms. Linda Young, founder partner of Yinke International, to the stage. Next, please welcome Ms. Peggy Aoyuan, Principal Government Counsel at the Legal Enhancement and Development Office, Department of Justice. Joining us next is Mr. Nicholas Ho-Lik-Chi, Commissioner for Belt and Road. Guiding this discussion, we have Ms. Julianne Do, partner at Hoi Do Sum Law Firm LLP and past president of FIDA, who will moderate the panel. Let's dive into this fascinating conversation on the opportunities and challenges faced by Chinese corporations as they go global, and the critical role Hong Kong lawyers play in supporting their success. Please join me in welcoming our panelists and moderator.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I hope you're excited as I am to talk about Chinese companies going abroad. We have a wonderful panel, and I'd like to take a little bit of time just to tell you a little bit about the important work that they are doing. So I'll start ladies first. Nick, if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind at all.
So starting from that side, Peggy. Peggy joined the Department of Justice after becoming a lawyer, and she is now Principal Government Counsel in the lead office under the Secretary of Justice. The lead office, as you may know, is the Legal Enhancement and Development Office, which assumes the role of the Central Policy Unit, so very important unit of the Department of Justice, and assists the Secretary for Justice in formulation of strategic plans and coordinating policy initiatives. So I really look forward to hearing more about Peggy's work in this regard. And then next to Peggy is Ms. Linda Yang. Ms. Linda Yang is the founding partner of Yinke International. As you may know, it's the, I have heard that it's the largest law firm in the universe. Linda is really my inspiration. She is responsible for construction of the whole of the international network of the firm and developing the firm's international legal service. She has covered the firm's global legal service network, which covers over 100 countries and specializes in corporate and commercial law. Linda has spoken at IBA conferences and also is very experienced in seeing a lot of Chinese companies go global. So very much looking forward to hearing from Linda. And then finally, our gentleman on the podium, Mr. Nicholas Ho, Commissioner for Belt and Road. Mr. Ho leads the Belt and Road Office under the Commerce and Economic Development Bureau to formulate overall strategy and spearhead policy in taking forward Hong Kong's full participation in the Belt and Road Initiative and to promote the connections to relevant sectors to strengthen our role as a functional platform. So very much enhancing what Hong Kong can do in the Belt and Road Initiative. So welcome to you all. Okay. So to make up for putting Peggy first, I'm going to ask you, Nick, the question first, okay, as Commissioner. So we often hear that Hong Kong is a functional platform for the Belt and Road Initiative, and we must leverage our strengths as a super connector and a super value adder. But as Commissioner, tell us more about your long and short-term goals for Hong Kong to actually fulfill this role.
Thank you. I want to thank FIDA for having me here today. Certainly fantastic to share the government perspective in terms of Belt and Road related work. You're absolutely right. Belt and Road Initiative is a very long-term plan. And of course, it is our national policy today with more than 150 countries signed on to it. Now, Hong Kong, we often say, as you mentioned, we are the functional platform. We are also the super connector and a super value adder. So I think all in all, we need to look at Hong Kong in a new way. We are the one-stop shop for all types of services along the total value chain. We are the hub where global capital, global talent, global projects, global events come here, converge, and deploy globally. And also, increasingly so, Hong Kong is taking a leading role in formulating, facilitating, and structuring Belt and Road related projects in Hong Kong. So that means we are becoming what we call the Belt and Road Resource Allocation Center. So being a hub, as we all know, is two-way, it's never one-way. So the work that we're doing, one way is to foster closer ties and to do more collaborations with our Belt and Road countries' partners. But at the same time, the whole of China, different provinces, different cities, is also part of Hong Kong's Belt and Road mandate. Because being the hub, once we converge global capital, talent, projects, events in Hong Kong, it gives it more value for mainland companies or mainland counterparts to come to Hong Kong and to access the Belt and Road market in a safe and successful manner. So to answer your question, I think the short-term goal, what we have been doing in the past 10 years since the office established, is to raise the awareness and to further facilitate global capital and global projects, especially Belt and Road projects, to come to Hong Kong. And in that exercise, we have been gradually lowering the threshold of cross-border business activities, whether it is expanding our global outreach in global offices or reducing the threshold for travel on visa-free travel regime, or doing other trade agreements such as the comprehensive avoidance of double taxation, free trade agreements, so on and so forth. All this is to lower the threshold, to make Hong Kong much more connected and much more open. And I think going forward, especially in the recently announced policy address, in terms of the hub value or hub role that Hong Kong embodies, we have a few new policy direction. One is Go Global Platform, 出海专班. So this would be spearheaded by my secretary under Commerce and Economic Bureau, is to coordinate Invest Hong Kong, HKTDC, and our mainland and overseas economic trade offices by the Hong Kong government to ensure that the Hong Kong story, the Hong Kong value, that message is conveyed effectively and in a targeted approach. Second is to much more proactively attract capital, attract talent, and attract projects to come to Hong Kong and use Hong Kong as a hub to deal make, right? Making us the de facto Belt and Road deal making hub. And I think the last point that I want to mention is Belt and Road Initiative is now in its almost 13 years. So what happens in the first 10 years was a lot of government-to-government mega-scale projects, mega-scale trade deals, mega-scale free trade agreements has been done. So what those sort of important work has an impact on is to create the blood vessels, right? To connect your whole body. So now we're seeing a lot of commercially viable projects, a lot of bankable projects led and participated by the private sector from around the region. Now they're able to access those opportunities because of the connectivity, both policy and infrastructure done in the past 10 years. So Hong Kong's role in this new golden decade has never been more important, because now we have to take on the role as the leader in public-private partnerships, as the leader of Belt and Road standards, interoperability, as the leader of ensuring that mainland companies, when they go global, they do so in a safe, effective, and successful manner. And that is why Hong Kong has all the ingredients to become the high-quality development platform, like I mentioned earlier. So these are the things that we're working on, and we're already seeing some very encouraging figures.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ho. I think that really adds a lot of flesh onto the bone. I think that actually gives us a lot more to think about in terms of actually implementing, advising clients, and really putting some substance into not that we haven't thought about it before, but now there's even more impetus. And I think that you mentioned some of the very important points like standards, for example. I think that's where Hong Kong can really play a role in many industries, not the least including, of course, legal standards. So very much looking forward to how we can work together with the government in this regard. Second question I would like is for Linda. And this is about Yinko Law Firm. Yinko Law Firm has a very well-known motto, and it's global mindset, local instinct. I've been very inspired by that motto, and you as a leader in a global law firm with its beginnings in China, you've been best placed actually to observe the importance of a law firm having this global mindset, having this local instinct to help Chinese companies go abroad. So my first question to you is, what have you found to be the areas where Chinese companies have met challenges and need support from legal counsel, who need to have this global mindset and local instinct?
Well, thank you, Julianne. I do appreciate for the invitation from you and FIDA. It's a great opportunity to communicate with colleagues in Hong Kong. Well, you know, as a global law firm originated from China, we actually started globalization as a Chinese law firm in 2010. It's 15 years ago. By that time, we noticed the increase of investment from China to the rest of the world and the challenges they are facing. So we initiated our, you know, the philosophy of global mindset and local instinct. I was asked why you didn't use Chinese instinct instead of local instinct. Well, I said to them that, you know, we understand the importance of localization. You know, you must have the experience, knowledge, and practice from the local partners. So it's not only about China, but it's about the country where you put your investment. You need to integrate, you know, the intelligence, experience together from the local partners. That's why we use the word of local. So I think most of the audience, you have experience in helping your clients making investment abroad. And there are some general challenges and risks for Chinese clients. But actually, I think it's not only for Chinese clients, but globally. For example, when you make selection, which country you are going to make your investment, we noted that there are increasing investment to ASEAN countries and also to African countries. However, even for the region, as a region of ASEAN, there are so many countries in this area, and each country has its own independent legal system and specific regulatory requirements, rules, and especially for some certain industries. So you must have a very thorough study and analysis on the country and the general legal environment, as well as the rules, relevant rules of the industry of yourselves. And you also need to find a good partner, actually. We have supported our clients on some dispute resolution in different jurisdictions. You know, they successfully launched the business, however, they selected the wrong partner, you know, which can also, you know, make the project, you know, have lots of losses eventually. And also, I think you should, for you know, ongoing operation, you must understand the laws and regulations for labor, for tax. You know, labor, I think, especially a very important issue. Lots of Chinese companies, you know, previously they have no such serious concern about labor. Recently, we have been contacted by some Chinese companies. They have a business in Europe. You know, Europe, I would see that is the most strict jurisdiction about sustainable development. Under sustainable development rules, you know, which is also known as ESG, under the solar, the pillar of social, worker is a very important factor. Actually, you may know CSRD and also ESRS. There are two specific regulations concerning to worker. So in Europe, you need to fill in the questionnaire concerning lots of questions related to labor. So that's a compliance issue. And we are also helping some big state-owned Chinese companies on their strategic projects in some countries like Latin America. And some of these compliance issues actually is beyond traditional legal issues. For example, they need to make analysis together with consulting companies to give them the trend of the changes, the policies and regulations of the country. And this country is going to have an election next year. So we need to, you know, based on our knowledge and our judgment, we need to share with our client what's going to happen, because it's a very big project. And there are some competitor countries, actually, they try to put their impact on the government of this country. So we realize geopolitical issues is also getting to be a challenge for some Chinese companies, especially for significant projects. That's really, we as Chinese lawyers, we need to mobilize our partners globally to work together with us to support our clients' needs and to help them to identify the challenges and risks and then to work out solutions. I think our advantage to clients is that we can provide them the single point of contact and we communicate and negotiate with the global team. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Linda. I think one of the very important points that Linda was able to bring out was the need to almost anticipate and identify the issues that you may come across in a very strange and unfamiliar place when you go outside and do business. I think very often what I've found, and I'm sure I share the experience with a lot of you who work for or do provide services for Chinese clients, is that the way of doing business that Chinese business people are used to, they sometimes come in for a very big shock when they go abroad, when there are other, we'll talk more about culture later on, but just rules and regulations in areas like labor and tax are incredibly complex and incredibly highly regulated and also very difficult to maneuver. So very, very cogent points there. Peggy, in your leadership role as the lead office, the Legal Enhancement and Development Office under the SJ's steer, you are actually a central policy unit. So this morning we heard a little bit about dispute resolution. I think that companies sometimes they think about dispute resolution, but more often than not they don't really think about it because they think that everything's going to go well. What I would like you to tell the audience is, in terms of our strength as a legal and dispute resolution, the services that we can offer, what is the role that we play in Chinese companies going abroad?
Thank you, Julianne. And first of all, may I re-register my sincere thanks to FIDA for the kind invitation. It is such a pleasure to be here with you today, especially in this panel of esteemed experts. To address Julianne's question, I think the strengths of Hong Kong as a legal and dispute resolution hub perhaps lies in two C's. Let me echo the Deputy Secretary for Justice opening remarks this morning. While I will not repeat his 4 C's, but I'd like to give you some examples. I'll translate them into 2 C's. One is compatibility. Speaking of that, Hong Kong substantive laws and regulations are compatible with our major trading partners. And we do not stop there. We are very innovative and we are forward-looking. 2 examples. First of all, in August, which is last month, we have welcomed the Stablecoin Ordinance, which is one of the kind in one of the very first in Asia. It establishes a framework for recognition licensing system for those fiat-referenced stablecoin issuers. So the message is clear. We would like to have a secure platform that will support innovation, and especially in digital assets, this very important and growing area. Example 2, which may not be my area, but very worth mentioning, recognizing the need to support financing of very R&D rich companies or high-tech companies. The Hong Kong Stock Exchange introduced Chapter 18C, some of you may be familiar with. So we encourage and open up venues for capital financing for these high-tech and emerging companies. So we are very innovative. So this is, we do not stop there. As addressed in the latest policy address announced just days ago, the Department of Justice would be actively looking into the arbitration ordinance. We would like to review it. The aim is to ensure that our arbitration regime would meet the emerging needs of the international business leaders and businesses so that we would be the top-notch, the preferred venue for international arbitration. So this is the compatibility part. The next C, I would say, is the credibility. Hong Kong has impeccable track record as an international financial center, and to support this, our common law system is also well trusted. Say, for example, our apex court, the Court of Final Appeal. In the past 6 years or so, let me show you a statistics. Over 50 judgments made by the Court of Final Appeal, some of which would probably be made here in this very beautiful chapel, have been cited and relied upon by our other common law jurisdictions, be it the UK, Australia, Canada, Singapore, and Dubai. So what does it mean? It means an international recognition of our very high standard of our courts. So speaking on arbitration again, our homegrown arbitration center, the Hong Kong International Arbitration Center, Hong Kong IAC for short, has long been recognized as the very leading and top-notch international arbitration center. Over 76% of its cases are international, truly global, and its rules is the number 2 preferred in the world, second only to the London. So we've been doing well, and so the Department of Justice would be supporting in building up and maintaining the competitiveness of our ecosystem to make sure that our landscape will support Chinese cooperation in going global. So I think apart from systematic credibility, one edge of our people in Hong Kong is actually the human side. Of course, you would know that Hong Kong is a truly legal hub of international law firms from various backgrounds, from mainland, from international, and also we have offices in the region and outside. And what is more important is actually, it has long been the fact that Hong Kong has been the only or single out highest, largest direct investment in the mainland. So what does it mean? It means that we have accumulated rich experience in serving Chinese corporations, in bridging the gaps, whereas mainland Chinese would have different work styles. Hong Kong talents and Hong Kong legal professionals know their needs. We're already there decades ago. So I think this would enable us to be the bridge between China and the rest of the world. So this is also an important credibility of our human talents and our professional services sector. So that would be my response to your very intelligent question. Thank you, Julian.
Thank you very much, Peggy. So 2 main points from that. I think the credibility issue is, I actually didn't realize that our decisions, right, were being cited internationally. So that's really a wonderful achievement. And also the compatibility issue is, of course, something that a common law system enjoys with a lot of our trading partners. So yes, lots to think about there. I want to go back to Nick and ask you a little bit about your experiences as commissioner. What are the drivers for Chinese companies going abroad? What drives them to want to expand internationally? And this must be very challenging to think about, especially in this day and age where you have a lot of geopolitics and difficulties and challenges going abroad. So what do you think drives them to do so?
Well, as we all know, a lot of Chinese companies, they are very capable, they're very mature, they are very competitive in terms of their product and services globally. Now, we all know that China market is growing, but there is a much bigger consumption market as well outside of China. So a lot of companies in the past, let's say, 20, 30 years have been going global from China to the rest of the world, and most of them use Hong Kong as a platform. These are mostly state-owned enterprises. Now, what we're seeing right now, because of the Belt and Road Initiative and because of what you mentioned about geopolitics, it gives rise to this huge opportunity in Belt and Road countries, whereby originally people might think of them as intra-markets. What I mean by intra-markets means, oh, it's a factory base. You know, you go there, as an interim platform to go to Europe or go to US. That may be true back then, but nowadays increasingly so. A lot of companies from mainland China and from Hong Kong go global. They choose Belt and Road as the ultimate destination. Because, for example, ASEAN, fast-growing economy, young economy, high adoption rate on digital economy. Now they have transformed themselves from a factory to a market, from a traditionally interim platform into an ultimate trading destinations. Many companies from Hong Kong goes to ASEAN, goes to the Middle East. The product and the service ultimately is being used by the people there. They're not going to anywhere else. So that mindset has changed. Second is a lot of mainland private companies are now going global. Now, there's 50 million private companies in mainland of China. Let's just say 50 million, 50. Let's just say 0.1% of them are extremely talented, mature, capable, and product ready to go global. Let's just assume 0.1%. That's 50,000. Hong Kong registered company that is not founded in Hong Kong is about 10,000 companies. So even 0.1% is going to fivefold our current companies from outside of Hong Kong setting up base here. So that opportunity for Hong Kong has never been more important. And of course, what I mentioned in the early beginning, Hong Kong, we needs to be proactively going out to attract talent, capital, projects to make us the hub. Because what's the value proposition, right? We often call ourselves the super value adder, but what value are we adding, honestly? Apart from the professional services, apart from our legal system, we must get the best of everywhere here. So when mainland companies, when they want to go global, it's like such an easy choice for them to choose Hong Kong, because coming to Hong Kong, they get access to Belt and Road capital, projects, and events. Now, having said that, the Belt and Road projects that has been implemented and operating in the past, let's say 12 years, Bank of China Hong Kong has done a report recently alongside with our summit. They said close to 80% of Belt and Road projects done in the past 12 years are based on common law. Hong Kong is the only common law jurisdiction in China. So our edge, whether it is from a governing system or our professional services providers or our, let's say, standards interoperability, it's already hardwired to be the hub for Belt and Road. And as I mentioned, the work that the government is doing in terms of Belt and Road is becoming more and more concrete and specific. I'll give you an example. This year, last week, was the Belt and Road Summit 10th anniversary, our 10th edition. Now, in the past 9 years, we have many participants from around the world coming in, and I think we signed about 50 MOUs on projects and on government in the past 9 years. This year alone, we signed 45, both government and private sector collaboration. And the content of these agreements are very specific. And for the first time ever, the government, in the chief executive opening remarks, has mentioned a dollar value, right? A lot of people often ask me, all these MOUs, what does it lead to? What's a dollar sign? So it leads to 1 billion USD of value of contracts already done. So this is not a pledge. The 1 billion being announced last week is a value of contracts being done right before the summit and during the summit, right? It's not a pledge, it's done value. So we're seeing that it's becoming more and more specific. And leading up to the summit, we also see a lot of new breakthroughs, proving that Hong Kong as an international financial center and trading center, we're breaking new grounds into new markets. For example, Kazakhstan Development Bank has issued the first ever renminbi denominated bond in Hong Kong, dim sum bond of 2 billion renminbi, right? This is not just the first time a Kazakh government entity has issued a renminbi bond. It's also the first time the whole of Central Asia government entity in the whole of Central Asia issued the first renminbi dim sum bond or renminbi denominated bond in Hong Kong. So this opened up new channels, and we're already seeing companies from Belt and Road countries are flocking to Hong Kong to do listing. We have now to date over 100 companies from Belt and Road countries being listed in Hong Kong to use Hong Kong as a funding hub. And vice versa, mainland companies using Hong Kong as a funding hub to go global. Now, funding, it's obviously the fundamental element and essential component to go global. So riding on the international financial center role that we have, of course, we can do so much more with it. I still remembered back in May when the chief executive led a delegation to Middle East, Qatar and Kuwait. Right, there are I think 25 mainland delegates from mainland companies and 25 Hong Kong companies. After that mission, since May, we already seen two very visual results. One is one of the delegates got listed in Hong Kong, and they have moved their headquarters to Hong Kong, both the Treasury Center, the C-suite headquarters, and also the research headquarters, in collaboration with Hong Kong University. Now, their factories are still in China. Their factories or their projects are in the Middle East, but they chose Hong Kong to be the hub for precisely that reason. And a second example is one of the delegates after the mission, in fact, it was one of the MOUs, one of the deals being signed and announced at our Belt and Road Summit last week, was that they did a two-tranche fundraising, two-tranche syndication loan in Hong Kong. One tranche onshore in China, one tranche offshore in Hong Kong. And the syndication loan is from a bank in Qatar, from a bank in Kuwait, and from a bank in Hong Kong, and from some banks in mainland China. That is a 200 million syndication loan to help mainland companies using Hong Kong as a platform to go global. Now, all these deals that I mentioned requires legal service, requires accounting service, requires technology providers and a suite of professional service in Hong Kong. Because often, when we go global, we find successes. Hong Kong companies, Hong Kong professional service providers achieving success globally. But for us, I think more importantly, which is now what we're pivoting, is we want to bring in these projects in Hong Kong, to deal make in Hong Kong, so that it doesn't just benefit Hong Kong, but also a broader base in mainland of China. And going out, what I often say is like marketing for bringing in, because they have to see what you are good at. Once they've seen what Hong Kong is good at, they're much more convinced and committed to bring their projects, to bring their family office or companies or listing destination, bring them to Hong Kong. And I think we're seeing initial promising results on that regard. But at the end of the day, when we talk to mainland companies, especially private companies, they often told us two biggest issues. One, apart from money and network, right? Everybody needs money and network. That's, you don't have to talk about that. We all know that. But two main issues. One is talent, and they come to Hong Kong for talent. Not Hong Kong international talent, but Hong Kong Belt and Road talent. Because they know a lot of Belt and Road students study in Hong Kong and they work in Hong Kong afterwards. So if they want to access the Kazakhstan market, they need someone that knows the Hong Kong culture and they knows their home country culture. And Kazakh students, we have more than 400 in Hong Kong. So they are very keen to use Hong Kong as a Belt and Road talent base. Second biggest issue is, I guess, the basis of the forum today is legal services. Because what works in mainland of China may not work overseas. And sometimes that switch, they need a legal base, a legal platform that can support them to go global so that they can go, because there's always this few terms, right? We need to go global successfully, we need to go global sustainably, and we have to go global safely. It's for long-term regional development. So a lot of mainland companies are now coming to Hong Kong to use our legal base, then to go global. Because we don't go into business hoping that one day it will fail, but dispute happens all the time. And when dispute happens, a project is delayed, especially for private and SMEs, right? They don't have the firepower, they don't have the holding power to drag on a legal case for too long. So they need an efficient, effective, economical solution to move forward and to keep doing business globally. So Hong Kong offered that sort of value for them to go global. And I think for SMEs and private companies, now we have entered into the age of the mobilization of PPP. It makes a lot more sense for them to come here and then go global to mitigate that risk. So I think on that regard, we're seeing a growing interest.
Really substantial remarks from Nick. I think that it certainly tells us that as the value adder, in addition to being the superconnector, we can certainly offer services, and we are valued for being able to bring companies to go global safely, sustainably, and also successfully. So I think that in this regard, Hong Kong has a lot to offer, not only in legal services, but also in other types of talent as well. And certainly I've also, having gone to the Belt and Road Summit 2 weeks ago, I also saw that the mentioning of the MOUs, they're much more specific and much more concrete than what they were before. So we can see the gradual and substantial development that we have been able to achieve in this regard. So a lot of work has been put into that. What I'd like to ask Linda about is cultural differences, because having worked with, I work with Chinese companies, and of course Linda has a wealth of experience working with Chinese businesses. Chinese businesses have a strong, very powerful and distinct culture, as do a lot of countries, I suppose. But we have such a long culture and such a long history. Do you think that any of these cultural differences and practices works to the advantage or disadvantage of Chinese companies when they go abroad? Do they have a mindset which they mistakenly think that maybe someone else will think the same as them, or does it help them to have a particular mindset, or it actually hampers them when they talk business?
Well, thank you, Julianne. It's a really good question. Actually, based on our observation, we understand that the cultural difference can really cause a failure of a transaction. It could be very, very serious. I still remember that we were urgently invited to participate in negotiation between a Chinese company and the counterparty is from Europe. Because a party hasn't been in communication for a few months for a very big project, about 2.7 billion RMB. It's a joint venture project. And after we participated in this program, we realized that, the story was because the president of the Chinese company, he invited the counterparty for dinner. And he said, well, even though we are going to be the majority shareholder in the joint venture, we, for everything important, critical to the JV, we are going to discuss together with you. So, it's considered as a serious commitment by the European side, but from Chinese side, it's part of our culture. We just want to show we are very friendly to you. Even though we are majority shareholder, we have like a sort of equal position. We are going to friendly to discuss everything important to the GV. So when the legal team, the in-house team, wrote the contract, the GV contract, of course the expression is different from what was committed by the president. So the counterparty was very upset, and they refused for any further communication. So that's why we were invited to join this program. So when we understood the background, we convinced the European side that it's just a part of a culture. The president just want to show we sincerely want to have cooperation with you. So it's not about any ethic issue. It's not about we are going to against the commitment and the contract liabilities. So eventually, with our support, this project continuously to be closed. That's a good example. Another story is recently I had dinner together with the former Director General of WTO. He served on this position for 7 years, from 2013 to 2020. He's Brazilian. And he told me that during his term as the Director General, he tried to solve the disputes on the trade relationship between two big countries. He didn't name these two countries, but assume it's between China and another Western country. He said he organized a conference call for the trade representatives of these two countries, and after the call, he asked the feeling separately from the representatives of these two countries. And the result was very different. One country said, oh, it's great. It's so helpful. I thought everything will be solved through this conference call. And the feedback from another country was, oh, it's terrible. We're not going to continue any conversation on this issue. So I think this is also, caused by the cultural difference. You can see, all the wording the same. So why there are so different feedback? I think that's really because of the cultural difference. As we see in global investment, culture issue plays a very important role. So our role is not only as legal counsel, but also as the bridge and sort of translator for cultural issues. We were told by our clients, some of the clients, their in-house team are actually very strong. They have no language issue, but they still would like to engage with us as a Chinese law firm because they said we can understand better of what they are looking for and what their key concerns. And then, we just filter their intentions to our foreign legal partner to help them to provide us a relevant legal opinion, and then we integrate this content together to deliver to our clients. So I do believe cultural difference is really a key issue to be considered when the management want to make the investment abroad, and also it's related to the ongoing operation. There are also lots of failures because you couldn't effectively to manage the talents in the company you acquired. There are really lots of issues in this aspect as well. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. It does, you can tell how serious things like that can get when you have a 2.7 billion joint venture when the joint venture partners are not talking to each other. And also when you have a telephone conversation when one party thinks it was great and one party thinks it was really bad. So completely different outcomes. So thank you for sharing those experiences with us. Peggy, I mean, you have to look at all this from a very holistic point of view. You're a policy unit. Where do you think things go wrong? When you look at how Chinese companies going abroad, where are the areas where things go wrong, and how do you see this?
Thank you, Julianne. I'd like to first echo what Linda has shared, some very interesting observations. Over the past few years, I've been joining government's delegations in visiting and engaging with various mainland counterparts, including some lawyers and also some business leaders. And I also share the observations that mainland businesses and Hong Kong businesses, they transact in a very different way. Say, for example, mainland would usually be fine with, we can figure it out along the way, while Hong Kong would usually say, let's agree everything in writing first. So Hong Kong tends to focus on the process with meticulous documentation of every step. But for mainland, they could focus more on the final results, and also they are fine with some post-facto records. So these cultural differences or different approaches in businesses would pose some challenges, and things could go wrong in this sense. And also, I'd like to perhaps summarize the challenges into four areas. First is the operational and strategic part. So this is the fundamental risk of where things could go wrong. It could translate into flawed market analysis, supply chain disruption. The second type of the risk is a compliance risk, which Linda has also mentioned, typically ESG, and also, for example, data transfer, which could mean non-compliance could mean heavy fines or even loss of markets. The third type is financial risk that Nick has mentioned. It could encompass currency exchange volatility or tax issues and also inflation. All these could erode profits. And lastly, which is into our area, which is the legal and dispute resolution risk. So this is the risk when what we do when things do go wrong. So if we are the corporations is being sued, what is the defense? How to defend? And to sue or to mediate or to negotiate? Or if we are the one whose rights have been infringed, are we going to take action? The problem is the courts or the system in the local market may not be very reliable. They may be slow or they may be complex. So where do you do your dispute resolution is a very fundamental issue. And this aside, we also need enforcement. So nobody wants an empty judgment with a piece of paper. We want the money back. So speaking of enforcement, the corporation would need to plan ahead. Local judgments obtained may not necessarily be enforceable in your home jurisdictions. So on this, we need an enforcement network to make sure that arbitral awards or judgments would be enforceable. So these are the areas that I could summarize as the notable risks. So of course I'd like to hear from experts because knowing the things firsthand would help us to formulate good policies, to formulate effective policy that will work for the ecosystem and also for the profession. Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you very much, Peggy. I think that really is a good reminder about how important, not only for dispute resolution lawyers, but also by corporate lawyers like myself, we really have to look at choice of law, joint governing law and forum at the start of the deal, because that really impacts heavily on potential dispute outcome. And I think Peggy mentioned a very clear point as there might be unforeseen weaknesses in the local system. And if you are forced to go into a local system for dispute resolution, you might find that it is completely alien to you. You're not getting through, the processes are challenging, and you can't really get what you need, and you can't really get what you want, and so on. So very, very good reminders. So looking forward, Nick, I would like to ask, in terms of your office going forward, you've mentioned a lot of the initiatives that have been, we've achieved, and they're pretty amazing. And going forward, what would you say is your office aim or spearheading to keep up this momentum of Hong Kong as the super connected, super value added? Like, give us a few hints.
Sure thing. So my office, we have two roles. One role is we coordinate, help coordinate Belt and Road related work and policies and measures across all 15 bureaus and the whole government. So one will keep driving that part with our colleagues and partners in different departments. Second is because we're situated in the Commerce and Economic Development Bureau, so helping commerce and companies going global becomes a focus of ours. So, well, maybe I'll take this opportunity to also share. In fact, because of the 10th edition of the Belt and Road Summit, our office, in coordination with the whole government, has published a book online on our website illustrating Hong Kong government's related work and measures in Belt and Road and its results. So I strongly encourage people to go on our website and download that book. I have a physical book here, which I'll pass to Laurie in a bit. Now, having said that, like I mentioned, our goal is to be the hub, right? So hub for capital, talent, projects, events. So how can we get there, and how can we stay there after we get there? So number one is, as I mentioned, my secretary will have a new mechanism called Go Global platform to help mainland companies use Hong Kong to go global in coordination with Invest Hong Kong TDC and our mainland and overseas offices, right? So it's very specific, very targeted. Second is my office, as announced by the chief executive, I think about a month ago, as we signed the first MOU with Ministry of Investment from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. My office signed one with them, and chief executive witnessed it. So this is a brand new mechanism that my office is spearheading to adopt a much more project-led approach. So we have now a new mechanism where government, from my office, and Belt and Road governments, their respective counterpart, we will bring their projects to Hong Kong. For Hong Kong companies to deal make, to participate, to tender for, and encourage them to use Hong Kong as the place for dispute resolution, right? To basically structure the deal in Hong Kong with its all suite of services that we discussed earlier. So this is a G2G project-led approach. Because a lot of people ask why G2G. Now, I'm not from the government, for a long time. I joined the government 2 years ago. I'm actually an architect. I'm from the private sector. I've done Belt and Road projects in the front line. So I've noticed the issues when private companies, SMEs, do what companies or what problems they encounter. Now, why G2G is because some risk can be mitigated. And if it's a G2G project-led approach, if something goes south, the government, my office, has a mandate to stand up. So a lot of private companies, when they go and do private projects, dispute, they don't get paid, or they get sued, or things like that. You listen to both sides think they're right. You think about it as a third person, you think maybe they're right too, I don't know. But if it's a G2G approach, at least we have a direct channel to ensure that the interest of the participants, having done that deal in Hong Kong, are better protected, right? So this is the reason of this G2G platform. Now, third is, as I mentioned earlier, we want to build Hong Kong as the Belt and Road Standards Interoperability Hub. So the policy address last week announced that we will help in creating a Belt and Road capacity building platform. So this will include more than 20 cross-government departments and current capacity building platforms to work towards facilitating Belt and Road governments, Belt and Road major projects to use Hong Kong standards or to have a channel of interoperability and also talent training, right? So to build that long-term recognition. So obviously our low-hanging fruit would be green-related standards, green finance, green building related standards. Our colleagues at the ICAC is doing incredible work in terms of integrity and trust-based standards, best practices and training. And of course, gradually we'll move to other new industry in terms of these standards related work. So that's that. And of course, throughout the year, we will be leading delegations to bring Hong Kong companies to go global, and we'll attract more sort of road shows, whether it is project road shows or events road shows to come to Hong Kong. To give you a few examples, back in 2023, the first ever FII, Future Investment Initiative, forum hosted in Asia was hosted in Hong Kong. So FII is like the largest financial forum in the Middle East, based in Riyadh. So they chose Hong Kong 2023. And then a PIF project came to Hong Kong for a roadshow last year, worked with my office. We brought them to Hong Kong. And as a result, a lot of Hong Kong companies participated in that project. And earlier this year, we have Kazakhstan, AIFC came to Hong Kong for a roadshow with us. And Super Saudi Cup is also as a result of bringing in more events from different regions to Hong Kong. And I'm also pleased to share that next year in July, the largest technology expo in the Middle East, which is also based in Riyadh, called LEAP, L-E-A-P, for the first time, they're hosting an event outside of Riyadh, and they decided to choose Hong Kong. And they call that event Leap East. So I think it says it all that Hong Kong is becoming the hub for Belt and Road events. And we asked Leap, obviously we did a lot of facilitation and persuasion, but after they chose Hong Kong, we asked them, why did you choose Hong Kong at the end? Of course, we're very pleased. And they said, they go to different parts of the world or even in Asia, they're only attracting that city or that country. But they truly believe coming to Hong Kong, they get the whole region. And that is why they come to Hong Kong. So I think these are just some of the things that we're doing. Of course, this book, it's 40 pages thick, so there's a lot of work that we're doing. But these are the three main directions that we're driving.
Thank you so much, Nick. It's pretty amazing work that we hear from Nick's office, especially about the standards building, that we can, in Hong Kong, we can be the ones setting the standards for green financing, for governance, for integrity. Those are really areas that we're really good at. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you for sharing. I'm sure there's a lot of exciting content in your book. Yeah, do take a good look. Linda, Yingke, what is the legal sector? What is the firm doing to adapt its business and its services to clients going abroad?
As I just mentioned that we consider ourselves not as lawyers providing routine legal services, but also to be the business solution providers to our clients, especially when they go global, because the situation is getting more and more complicated. Purely legal services cannot really meet the client's requirements. So, one part is our network, which covers 404 jurisdictions. We either have a partner firm selected through 3 standards, which is high recognition on development in China, namely very friendly to Chinese clients. And the second standard is they are ranked by Chambers or Legal 500, these international organizations with like first tier or very specialized in some certain areas related to Chinese investment. And third standard is they must understand Chinese culture, especially to be very flexible. For example, if they want to ask some preliminary advice, they can really give us support, no charge for the first round of preliminary questions. And also when we work out proposal together, they can give us a flat fee arrangement. This is not really easy, if you don't have a long-term relationship with these firms. Normally they charge purely on hourly basis, but to get Chinese clients engagement, you must have a flat fee or at least a capped fee arrangement. So our partners can really give us great support. And in some important jurisdictions, we also have our own offices. And in the next few years, we are going to have the capacity building of our local offices as well. And we also work together with some international organizations like United Nations. As a founding partner, we joined a program with South Corporation Global Thinkers Tank Network. And this network, it assembled over-top thinkers tank for sustainable development. And we also work together with UNCTAD. It's a UN Trade and Development Conference headquartered in Geneva. For example, we are thinking to initiate a global new energy alliance. Talking about new energy, China, in terms of technology and productivity, we are really number 1. And this can also help other countries with the energy transition. It's in line with the Sustainable Development Goals of United Nations, and also it's really advanced. We have advanced advantage for Chinese companies. So I would see, we can provide integrated business solution to our clients. We combine all the resources. For example, the former General Director of WTO, he is also our business partner, and with his good connection and experience, we are helping some Chinese companies on their expansion in Brazil and some other Latin American countries. This is very important. And also we have a cooperation with some consulting companies or lobby companies. For example, when they have some issues in the US, we can also work together with these consulting companies, especially for some sanction-related issues.
Thank you, Linda. I think that puts a bigger, wider perspective on the provision of legal services, not only just pure legal services, but also being a business partner, a solution provider, integrating our services, being flexible with fees, and really going to the resources that we have across the different parts of the world to be able to give deliver a integrated solution. So thank you for that, Linda. And also, so Peggy, going forward for the lead office, what do you think will be the focus of your policy to support this going global? You know, what words do you have for, lawyers, for example?
Thank you, Julianne. Yes, we are very active in the past years to work with stakeholders in supporting Chinese corporations in going global. Speaking of some of our new initiatives under the policy address announced by the CE days ago, the Deputy Secretary for Justice, Dr. Horace Zheng, would be leading in promoting the legal services, but not just alone, but together with other professional sectors in supporting Chinese corporations in going global. Because, as rightly pointed out by Linda, we are to provide a one-stop integrated business solutions to make things work so that it would be a secure path for corporations in going global. We not necessarily only need legal services. Legal services is important, but from early intervention like the setting up of the investment structure, where you put your vehicles, where you set up your companies, the holding companies, where to use the financing platform. All these, we need to work together as a Hong Kong professional team, as I call it, to plan for best tax concessions, best tax policies, and also to manage the cluster of companies through Hong Kong, as Nick has mentioned. So we need accountants, we need tax experts, we also need business consultants who know the local market, be it the Kazakhstan students or other Belt and Road partners. So we all need to work together. So Hong Kong is a hub. Therefore, the DSJ would be supporting this area in coordinating our work with different bodies. There are many of them. Professional-wise, I've mentioned a few. What we intend to do is to work closely, as led by the DSJ, to engage with mainland counterparts. We need to know their needs. So we will work with the government authorities like the NDRC, the National the Reform and Development Commission, and also the SASEC, the state-owned commission, the state-owned companies, and also the business body like the CCPIT, all these, and also the business leaders, where they have the ambition, they have the very good strategies, they have the plan, and they need us. I'd like to feel that the legal professionals and all other professions are all architects. We are there to build the bridges, to bridge the Chinese corporation to the world. So this is one of our latest, newest initiative that I will call on support from a STEAM audience and also other professional bodies that will work together. When we understand the needs from the mainland side, we will link up the needs with the legal profession and also other professional bodies so that we could address those needs. So this is one area. And other area is a continuing effort. We will be actively promoting Hong Kong as the international legal hub to our Belt and Road partners. For example, the SJ, the Secretary of Justice, has just come back from Xinjiang. Xinjiang is the strategic positioning along the Belt and the Road. It's a very good partner to Central Asia economies. So riding on this effort, we are actively planning to lead a delegation to visit Kazakhstan. As Nick has aptly mentioned, they have set up a common law court. So they want to use common law to attract investment. They have also set up an arbitration center, borrowing our talents. We are very proud of that. So the Secretary and our department would be supporting this promotion efforts in making sure that the legal profession and also other professional bodies are visible to our Belt and Road partners. So when they structure their deals, when they want to bring their projects to a global platform, they think Hong Kong, they choose Hong Kong, and they use Hong Kong.
Thank you very much, Peggy. We've really had a lot of very brilliant sharing from our speakers, and I want to thank them very much. But before we end, I just would like to see if you have any questions for our speakers from anyone in the audience. Anything you'd like to raise or ask? Yes, Cecilia.
This question actually is not for me, but it's for my. It's not directly from me. Is from also a lawyer who is now flying overseas due to the typhoon. The schedule's been changed. He had wanted to come and participate in this, particularly this session, and to meet Nick and to meet Peggy, but he has to change the flight. So I'm asking on his behalf. The company is representing a very large Saudi investment platform. And the investment objective is to develop an industrial ecosystem in Saudi. And by leveraging on Chinese companies, because we know all Chinese companies, they're now leading in technology. And so that will help them to diversify the supply chain by setting up in Saudi. So what I just heard, it seems that perhaps he can approach Nick's office or Peggy's office.
You can approach my office.
Should approach your office. And of course, he should not be contacting you, right? You're the chair, you're the most busy person. Is there any office or any person, any contact person?
I'll drop you my
can...
email later. And you
Sorry?
I'll give you my name card later. You can drop in my email.
Okay, thank you. And how about Peggy? Because you said this is one of the new initiatives of the DSGs, right?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. I'd like to jump in emphasizing the need of coordination. I think it is, thank you, Nick, for the intervention, and it is very to the point that, and very aptly that if you have clients or your business partners would like to make use of Hong Kong as a platform in going global, be it from the Middle East or ASEAN market, yes, thanks to Nick's office for coordinating. And to this, for the legal services part and the professional services part, here where the OJ will come in to coordinate the service platform. So it would be a lot of coordination. So you can rest assured that being coordinated efforts is important, and we will spare no efforts in maintaining very close collaboration among within our government. So it's not just next department actually, as next
We're the coordinator.
Like TDC, Invest Hong Kong, and also Productivity Council, you name it. So there's a lot of coordination in between. So we will spare no effort in doing that, and that's our job. So let us do it. So for the legal services part and also the professional services in linking up with a very good tax strategy and also a business plan. So the professional services part would be coordinated by our department.
Thank you so much. In fact, their clients already liaising with some of the largest companies in mainland. And what they're interested is, as the speakers have already said, they trust Hong Kong. They know that we are super connected. And that's why they're interested to meet somebody, particularly the Belt and Road office. Thank you so much. Thanks, Julian.
May I? It's wonderful to hear from all the speakers. In fact, Hong Kong is doing so much. And yet, I believe it is a good thing. I mean, if not for this conference, sometimes some data may be missing. And especially FIDA is also, well, you can see we have a lot of women lawyers from different offices like law firm or chambers or even in-house. I think it is good to get us also involved because I think somehow in the past, maybe you have forgotten about FIDA. And I do want to take this opportunity to air out that we do want to be involved. We love Hong Kong, and we want to be part of everyone to really get connected. Thank you.
Any more questions from the floor? No? Oh, there's one at the back.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate how much you and we do for Hong Kong. I have been to other seminars from the Invest Hong Kong different jurisdiction equivalent, Invest NZ, Invest Dubai, Invest wherever. And they have different agendas, probably speaking very much the same as what we Hong Kong do as a super connector. They will say, oh, they can represent certain capital from their region, or they can bridge certain ventures in their region. So with these all different agendas from different invest other jurisdictions, how could Hong Kong stand out as a super connector? Do we have other proposition, value proposition that perhaps Nick was saying that can make Hong Kong like be the real hub, the fastest and the strongest among all the Belt and Road countries?
Thank you. No, thank you for the question. Now, to begin with, as you know, in this current administration, Hong Kong government and Hong Kong as a whole, in terms of different global rankings, we've been going up, whether it is arbitration or competitiveness, so on and so forth. Now, rankings aside, that's one thing. But I think more importantly is Belt and Road Initiative or global partnership is all about working together. So it's not about winner takes all. Yes, we work with Invest equivalent counterpart in other Belt and Road jurisdictions all the time. Yes, we all have the same agenda, but that doesn't mean that there's no common ground for us to work together. We see projects. For example, this year we have a record number of people, record number of MOUs, record number of deals being done in Hong Kong at the summit. And some of them are actually from our partners in Saudi Arabia, some of them actually from our partners in Kazakhstan. So it's not winner takes all. It's not either or, zero-sum game. So we believe that Hong Kong, as long as we stay open, we stay competitive, we keep us as connected and as sort of transparent as possible, then our edge will gradually develop and grow. Because there are a lot of things that Hong Kong cannot do, and we need to work with partners in the region. But there are certain things that only Hong Kong can do, and no one else can ever do. And we must leverage on our strengths, right? If you want to do something that other people is also good at, then you have to work harder, run faster. But if there's something that intrinsically that other people want and only you can do, my God, we're going to put all our efforts on those things. And geographically, and also under one country, two system, that gives us our secret sauce, if you will. And second thing is, I think it's competitiveness. And Hong Kong spirit, we have never shied away from competitiveness. In fact, I always tell my colleagues, we need to instill this mentality in my office and in our government. You know, once we see competition, we get excited. We love to compete because it only makes us better. And the Hong Kong spirit or the Lion Rock spirit, whatever you want to call it, we've always thrived under competition, right? And of course, back then, when 10, 20 years ago, there are many capital coming in, many people coming in, and now there are many other options around the world. You know, for me at least, that gets me excited. Because if everybody's coming here, then why bother? Then I don't have to do anything. But it's because not all are coming, but they should. That gives me the energy. That gives us the drive. So for us, I love competition. I always have had. And just hearing competition gets me excited. So we will be very proactive in going global and work with our partners. And we're already seeing very promising results, and we're just getting started. Yeah, so we're very, very excited.
Okay, so there's a lot to look forward to. Okay, see a question over here.
Thank you very much. It's an amazing panel, and thank you for the insights. Just very brief. to congratulate you actually for your comments, because traditionally we see these developments of Belt Road and etc. as a competition, and it shouldn't be. As a person who was born in Peru, I just came back 1 week ago from Peru. The biggest port in Latin America just been finished built by China. And we are looking actually to your country as a leader. We are not necessarily wanting to bring money to invest in China, but actually to work cooperatively and collaboratively with you to provide maybe cotton or textiles or whatever it is. But we are looking at you for leadership. For many reasons, I think China has intelligently been developing the relationships with Latin America. In fact, I was saying to Sylvia before, China has been with us for more than 150 years in Peru. So it's not a new friendship, but I'm very happy that this is happening rather quickly, actually. We are building the second port, the second biggest port in the south of Lima. So I just want to say thank you for that. Continue with the work. If there's anything we can cooperate and collaborate, I'm a lawyer, as you know. I'm coming and going from South America, and I'm really looking forward to what next big projects China is going to be establishing in South America. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In fact, Hong Kong and Peru, we signed an FTA earlier this year, and we're already discussing how to sort of expedite the use of this FTA. So my colleagues are actually constantly in Peru to discuss that. In fact, Invest Hong Kong Director General currently is in South America. She will be visiting Peru as well this week. So it proves this renewed friendship, if you will. As mentioned in the Chief Executive Policy Address last week, we have for the first time put Latin America as a priority market. So that proves Hong Kong's commitment to LATAM.
Actually, I mentioned Peru. We are the legal counsel for COFCO Shipping, the shipping company. You know, they actually purchased a share from Changsha Port, and I think you just mentioned the second port is also going to be under construction. We also do look forward to having more collaboration with Peru and other Latin American countries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sylvia and I, we've been there to Peru. Yeah, led by DOJ. We attended the APEC summit at Peru, and Lima, and I can give testimony to what Delcy just said. There is a Chinese Chinatown there, and we went there for a meal, and we were told that, yeah, very good meal. And we were told that their generation, they lived there for generations. So that's why we can give testimony to what she said. We are friends for over 100 years, Chinese and Peru. Yeah.
But I do think, and I appeal to both Peggy and Nick, that it's high time to lead more people there. Let's go again. And furthermore, not only Peru, 2 years ago, I went to Africa, and people there, they welcome Chinese because of the Silk Road, because of the things we've been helping. I think it's really wonderful that China has been reaching out to make friends through Silk Road Initiative and everything. And I think, but as Nick said, you know, we are doing well. Good, we're doing but we can do better, and even the best is yet to come. And I do hope that we can really incorporate more people, and there's a lot of people yet. We like Joint Mediation Helpline Office, I forgot to be the supporter, and there's Belt and Road Surface Connection, and I think you can really involve more of us. We are all volunteers, but we all love Hong Kong, and we all love China, and we want to do more. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your enthusiastic comments. I do want to apologize for one of our speakers, Jane Yin, not being able to be with us. She had to leave on a flight much earlier than she thought she had to because of the typhoon. But thank you for all your contributions and for to our speakers. They've really given us a lot of insights. I think we're really able to think a lot more about the Belt and Road and going global than we had in mind before. So thank you so much, everyone, once again. We're very grateful that you came to us today. And I think, Nick, your phone will be ringing a lot after this conference. So thank you very much now. I'll give it back to the MC.
Thank you, our panelists and moderator, for such an insightful and engaging discussion. Please take a seat. Oh, yeah, please take a photo, group photo first, yeah. We now come to our final panel discussion for today, which focuses on a topic of great importance to the legal profession, women in leadership and legal careers. This panel will explore the challenges women face in reaching leadership roles in the legal sector, as well as the practical skills, attitudes, and technologies that can help overcome these barriers. We'll also discuss how firms and institutions can better support women lawyers in managing ethical, procedural, and client-related challenges while maintaining a healthy work-life balance. Finally, the panel will explore steps that can be taken to promote gender parity in legal leadership.